And given that you are a co-founder of Google Wallet, what makes you think, how successful do you think Apple can be?
I think it has a lot of potential. I mean, I think they've done a great job with the ecosystem. So they control distribution of the handsets. They have the NFC secure element in all their phones. They also did a great job with partnerships on the banking side. I think kind of the whole, or the thing people are asking about, is the value-added services. So it's very clear they can do tap and pay for terminals that are already NFC enabled. But the question is, where's the value add? Where's the improved customer experience? I think that's the big question mark for them.
Amanda, you've used it. Is there an improved customer experience?
Yeah, for our users, it's faster. So ultimately, Hotel Tonight is all about making it fast and easy for you to book a hotel room. And so now it's 3 taps and a thumbprint, and you can be on your way into your hotel room really quickly.
What was it before?
So before we had 3 taps, and we've got our signature swipe, our HBED swipe that the rest of our users will continue to experience. But from a user perspective, it's just easier to kind of raise your thumb, tap, and go.
Do you have statistics on how many customers you lose that get as far as the point of payment and then don't actually complete it?
We don't talk about our conversion funnel, but usually our biggest problem is not ultimately getting through that funnel, but the faster we can make it for users on the go, the better it'll be.
Jonathan, the comparison to Google Wallet that I've read about with this is that Google essentially captures all the credit card information, protects it as well as they can, and thus far that's been fine. But that Google then does a lot of customer analysis, so they know if I'm using my credit card, they know me, they know where I'm using my Google Wallet moments, and they're learning a lot about me and finding new ways to market to me. So Apple's not allowing that for themselves or for anyone else. As a user, I can see why that's much more attractive, a lot more privacy. But obviously there are trade-offs Apple also can't market to me in ways that they might otherwise.
Yeah, I think that there's effectively some concern that this will limit the value adds that Apple Pay could actually provide to these retailers. I think that's one of the reasons you'll see some reticence from some of these larger retailers to accept Apple Pay. Apple Pay right now only accepts credit cards. It doesn't accept...
So Target won't know that I moved into a new apartment and I'm shopping for wallpaper and kitchenwares and can't market more stuff to me?
I think it actually will impair their ability to figure those things out. I think some of these bigger retailers, like Target in particular, also has a red card. There's no NFC specs for the Target red card. There's no way for them to put the Target red card into the wallet.
Now, Google Wallet, the impression is that it didn't really break through. What were the challenges? What are the challenges that Apple Pay is going to run into as well?
So I would say, at least for Google, one of the big challenges was the carriers. So the carriers made it very difficult for Google to get really broad distribution to a lot of different handsets. I think that one of the challenges that Apple has overcome there is that they control the handset. They'll have NFC distribution on all those handsets. But the challenge for them, I think, is really going to be the adoption side. Convincing merchants, there's a really unique value add for them. I think if you think about it, they have it in the form of Passbook. They have the potential. They have assets, right? Passbook has like reward cards and loyalty cards. If they could figure out a way to actually have Passbook be part of the Apple Pay experience, I think then you'd start to see retailers really being willing to play ball. But until then, it's just not clear how this is a slam dunk to the retailer. So, why move to something new if it's not going to help them?
Amanda, from a software writing, application writing standpoint, how easy was it to work with Apple Pay, both either on the Apple side or just on the software side?
Yeah, so Apple's been great to work with. So we started a couple weeks ago, and we're able to get the integration done by last week. Yeah.
So it was pretty easy?
Yeah. I mean, our team was down there, and they were really helpful. And, we were working hand in hand with the developers in Apple Pay when we came up with issues or edge cases, working together to make it possible.
What were some of the issues?
Just little edge cases or things you don't think about, or sometimes when you put software into production, you learn new things. And so working together to make sure that we had all those seams tied up before we actually launched this week, which was super exciting.
One of the things I was speaking with Mark Andreessen about in our same conversation last week is he said Apple Pay isn't that innovative. It actually uses a lot of existing systems and just sort of brings everything together. Jonathan, would you echo that?
I'd say the trick is where they go from here. So what they did is they took kind of existing standards, NFC standards. They worked with, Visa and MasterCard. They are using some cool new tech. They're using tokenization from the card networks. This improves the security of the solution. I think the Touch ID also improves the security of the solution. I think those are kind of incremental steps. I think probably what Mark was calling out there is the lack of kind of a breakthrough value-add proposition.
There's speculation also that Apple's going to get anywhere from 12.5 to 25 basis points of the transactions. you've been in those kinds of negotiations. Of course, no one wants to give up huge dollar amounts like that. Do you think they got it?
I think they did, and it's actually kind of amazing they did.
Why?
Well, I mean, this is the issuers, or this is their breadwinner. For them to give some of that up, they had to be pretty afraid of missing out on the Apple Pay experience.
As I understood it, they felt like they were backed into a corner and that they had no choice.
Yeah, I think that's probably the case. But,
why does Apple have that much power?
Because they do completely control their ecosystem, and it is a really powerful ecosystem. They control the hardware, the software, end-to-end of the handset. So if you were forced to either partake on their terms or be left out of their ecosystem, I guess these banks kind of felt like they didn't have a choice.
Why didn't Google do it the way that Apple is doing it?
I think that Google kind of has a different philosophy. I mean, you kind of look at Android. It's not a closed ecosystem. It's an open ecosystem where kind of the rising tide lifts all ships. I think that, maybe with a little patience, or maybe with Apple Pay now, Google will kind of come back to the table and push in that direction.
Do you think Google is going to come back to the table? I mean, what kind of a...
I think they kind of have to.
How much of a chance does Google stand in this
Oh, I think
scenario?
it's still very early, right? I think that Apple has a lot
There's so many more phones, right? There's so many more phones out there that are Android. I mean, you'd think that they've still got a chance to say we've got the marketplace.
But I wonder, what do you think Google is going to do?
I think they have to answer this. I mean, this is too important a space. I think Apple's going to say, hey, we're protecting your privacy. We have this beautiful experience. I think Google's going to say, hey, we're helping these retailers with all these value-added experiences, and we have a huge number of handsets. And I think, the ecosystem's probably going to take a couple years to mature. One wild card out there is that all these retailers are having to upgrade their terminals for EMV anyway. So you're going to start to see a lot of NFC terminals, kind of regardless of Apple Pay or Google Wallet.
So you unpack that EMD, the chip, right?
Yeah. So for many years in Europe, they've had effectively a credit card technology called EMV that's more secure. It puts a little chip on the card, and the U.S. market's moving towards that in light of kind of all.
This isn't a requirement from Visa to do that in 2015.
That's right. So all these terminals will be upgraded to support it. They'll also have NFC, and I think you'll see consumers are going to have to learn new behaviors.
It also explains why Oracle bought Micros, the maker of terminals, because they also recognize the upgrade cycle is about to hit.
Amanda, are you expecting, you said that the payment process, you don't necessarily lose customers along the way, but do you think that you will gain customers because of an improved Apple Pay experience?
Yeah, that's certainly our goal. So we want to make it simpler and easier. We'd love to get new users who appreciate the security and the simplicity of Apple Pay. And, our product is really about being mobile only and on the go. And when you're out there, the faster we can make it for you and the safer we can make it for you to not have to re-enter your credit card information, the easier it is for everybody.